deny a problem, it only gets worse. Pretend it don't exist, the problem persists. I set my heart to mystify the gods and breaking all the age of curse. Before there was a white, there was a black first. At the roots of hierarchy, the goddamn purge, instigating prejudice, white supremacy. God's a supreme bully. God's a supreme bully. Tyranny, ruling with an iron fist. God's supremacy, rape and sodomy, blood sacrifice, delusion of mind controlling religion, superstition, spiritual crime, blood sacrifice, murderer, murderer. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. No more evil deeds, no more blood sacrifice. Self-liberation, self-sovereignty. I dissolve this dream. I dissolve this dream. All that is hidden will be made known. All secrets will be revealed. No more hiding under your white and black sheets. Time to face all your evil deeds. For I self-supreme. Time for I self-supreme to destroy this dream. I demolish all that I have created and free from my imaginary bondage. I return to my ultimate true state. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. No more lies, no more evil deeds, no more blood sacrifice. How do you identify? Blind, following the blind. The source of every evil lurks in the mind. Ignorance of self is the worst kind. Murderer, what an atrocity, the most heinous genocide, a blatant hatred of the eye. God is your devil in disguise. Awake from the dream, remove the veil from your eyes. Behind the ego, the truth of life. I am one with all is I. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. No more evil deeds, no more blood sacrifice. All souls are free. Self-liberation, self-sovereignty. I dissolve this dream. I dissolve this dream. Yes. Yes, yes. Yes, I. No more secrets. No more lies. No more secrets. No more lies. Welcome, welcome. Yes, welcome, welcome to this satsang with I Auset Ra. Thank you for joining Thank you for wanting to know more. Thank you for clicking this video. Yes, I am primal light, prepared for this dream duality world. I am the fractal, fragmented self, tiny particles of the self taking form, animating this body avatar with this identity as Auset Aten Ra. I am the liberator, and I advocate for myself. I am here advocating for myself. Why am I advocating for myself? Because I have been enslaved, being a prisoner inside of a dream. So it is time for justice. It is time for order. It is time for balance. And it is time for truth. No more secrets. No more lies. This is the age of knowing. And so I want to welcome you to this satsang with I, Auset Aten Ra. This is a gathering to seek truth. Why are you seeking truth? Because we do not know. And the most important of all things that we do not know who we are. And so you have many ones, they are going around, they are saying, oh, I am this. Oh, I am this human being. Oh, I am white. Oh, I am black. Oh, I am brown. Oh, I am Mexican. Oh, I am Jamaican. Oh, I am British. Oh, I am LBQT, all kind of letters. Oh, I am gay. Oh, I am this. Oh, I am that. Oh, all of these identification that the eyes identifying. Oh, I am non-binary. Oh, I am binary. Oh, all these crazy stuff. Because you think you know, and so you're giving yourself all this identity, and it is false. You do not know, and you don't want to ask. Why don't you want to ask? Who am I? It is so simple, but because of your ego, you don't want to inquire. You don't know, but you don't want to ask. Right? You came, someone has been programming to the eye, telling the eye a story, right? To follow a dogma from you were a very baby human being, this small human being, right? I know that you have grown to be a mature human being in body, right? You are saying, oh, something doesn't seem right, something, so you are searching for your identity, and so you are identifying because based on what your program is, because we are all under a program. And so when we become mature human beings, this is when we have to do this self-inquiry. If you never get a chance, by having the adults around you to start getting you on this path when you were young, because of ignorance, that I don't know, because there's a lot of things I did not know when the INIs that I was cultivating about the I self. I did not know these things. I was in a lot of confusion when they were young. But one thing was that I asked them to research things, and I never gave them any God story. I never gave them. I remember one time I had them explore when my guys were young, little elementary human beings. There was a Korean church that was like right across from where we were living, and so they were being homeschooled, so they didn't really get a lot of opportunity to socialize with other children, because we had moved from a different state to a different state, and so we didn't really know anyone. And so I said, let's go, let's explore. So, because they wanted to go to the playground, they had a playground over there. So I went over there, and I had the guys was going over there. They were also learning Korean. They were teaching them Korean class, and so one day, my youngest, I think he was probably 6 or 5 at that time, I don't know if he had turned 6 yet. Um, and he came to me and he says, "Mommy, how come you never talk about Jesus?" And I said, "Because I don't know about Jesus. Someone was just telling me about Jesus, that I need to give him my soul, but that does not seem right to me. And so I don't tell you about these characters because I do not know. And only when I know something for sure, I will tell it to you and I will speak truth to you." Now they are older. They don't really want to hear so much the things that I have to say, because they might have been programmed into this culture, but they are fighting the same battles that I am fighting. But I try to communicate with them the best that I can and talk to them about certain things. But sometimes, young human beings, adult human beings, they don't really want to listen so much, um, especially when they have seen you struggle and everyone is saying to them when they were young, "Oh, your mom is crazy. Oh, your mom is imbalanced. Oh, your mom," everyone was saying this. When I was on this path, they said, "How can you not have an attachment to any gods?" Everyone was saying this, even their dad, because he was a part of the Muslim culture. And I asked him why. I see him, he do it's mati, go, he pray, and I said, why do you do these things? And he said, it's his culture. These things was given to him, so he's just following a ritual because it was programmed to him. Because I remember before I got married to him, and he was telling his people that I didn't have any religion, I didn't have any beliefs in any of these God things, but I was very confused. So I was not going to choose something because it was very important to me that I choose the right thing. And so I was asking these questions. And so I was asking pastors and religious people. I went to explore different religions to ask them questions. But what I found out was that they did not know, and they also was following a dogma, a story, the same story that was told by everyone. All right. And so, and I wasn't in a position where I was, where I could go to the pyramids and look at inscriptions on the wall, and for myself. I was like thousands of miles away from that culture, from that culture that I grew, that I spent many lifetime in, and but this truth was ingrained in I when I came into this body. And so when things did not seem right to I asked questions. And it was one day when I realized that all what I was seeking outside of myself, I was asking everyone. I was asking that I was looking for a teacher. I'm telling you, I was looking. I say, someone has to know. Someone has to know this truth. And so I was on a quest searching for someone to teach me. And then on the day when I realized that no one knew and no one is going to teach me, I had to turn my question inwards. And I remember that day because I was, that time I was going to the college, and I was doing a music education class. And I was being very confused in the music because the theory, the way I could figure things out very simply, but the way they were explaining to me and wanting me to learn something, it was becoming very complicated for me. The theory and what they want. And so I realized, I remember I was walking, I had my guitar with me, and I sat down. And actually, I don't even remember, I was passing one man. I don't remember what the man said to me, but he had a spirit on him. And he said something, to be honest, I can't even remember. But it was something very profound he said to me. And I remember I sat down in a grassy area, and I cried and I cried and I cried, and then I was just crying. And then I realized that all my questions, I must turn my questions inward, because no one is going, I'm never going to find the teacher I'm looking for, because I was looking for myself, right? I was looking for myself. I did not know, but who was the teacher? I was the teacher that I was looking for. So when I realized this was when, I started writing down my question. Who am I? Why am I here? How did I come into being? What is this world? Why does this world feel so strange? Sometimes I felt like I was in a dream. I wake up, I could not tell if I was actually sleeping or was I dreaming. I could not tell the difference between them. And so this was my big struggle. And so because I did not know, I wanted to make sure that I knew. And so I kept asking. And so this was how I explained that to the I, that the I, that which come as the I son. And I said, I don't know, but when I know this information and I know the truth, then I am on this quest to find out. But you can learn about these things. You can see why the war of the world. You can see why humanity are the way they are. From the different ideologies and dogmas. Because it is a propaganda that have been spread all throughout the world. And so it's also good to know the different things what everyone is believing, and so this is what I am going to be focusing on today, and why self-inquiry, why it is so important that you ask this question: who am I? It is very important to ask this question. All right. No more secrets. No more lies. No more secrets. No more lies. It is very important that we come to this realization that there's so much secret have been kept from us. We've been kept ignorant. We've been kept docile for a specific purpose, because the oligarch of the world, the ones the shadow people who are hiding, and they have the puppets running the world, and they are telling them what they need to do. Why? Because the shadow government is being run by all of the devil gods, being run by the consciousness, the duality consciousness, the mind of the world, because we must remember that we are inside of a dream, right? So everything has been kept secret from us, and only lies and propagandas have been spread. Everything that you have been ever thought was a lie. And it is all going to be unfolding pretty soon. And you're going to see that everything that you believe is untrue. Everything that you have been thought is a lie. All things hidden will be made known. No more secrets, no more lies. All things done in secret will be revealed. So no longer will they be doing their evil in secret and think it's gonna be kept a secret, because I am here exposing the secrets of the gods, And I already tell these gods, I will not keep your secrets. And so all the human beings who know the secrets of all the other human beings who have been doing all this evil, they must speak the truth. You must no longer keep these secrets for all of these evil human beings. It is time now for truth to be known, and all things done in secret will be revealed. All things created must be destroyed. This is the age of truth, and it's time for self-responsible authority. Know that all is the I self. I alone exist, so that you must take self-responsibility. No one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. How are you going to save yourself? By self-inquiring, right? If you don't inquire, you are never going to know. If you don't ask a question, how are you going to know? So I want to encourage all the ionites to resist temptations and be vigilant. All right? Remember that we are inside of a dream. You are in this ego, and you must take responsibility of yourself. You must take responsibility of your ego and all your ego false selves that you have brought into existence. They must be returned back onto you, and you must dissolve your ego. This is your responsibility, but no one wants to take responsibility of their ego. Check your ego, right? Purify your mind and be in balance. Who do you want to do this for you? You have the power to do this. It is your responsibility to do this. Time now. Make it happen. All right? And again, I am going to say resist temptations, because they have many, many temptations out there. Pulling us in. Even me, myself. What temptations? Like most times, I don't have to eat. I don't have to eat at all. And sometimes, the mind will say eat. And especially when the gods them are on me, just beating me up, and I want to get distracted, So you're gonna be offered food, you're gonna be offered all kind of stuff, and so you have to be strong, except for the things that you need for basic living. That's why I'm calling for the dissolution of this government. I'm calling for dissolution of this corporation, this oligarch ruling the world. Why? Because we must live here for free. We must live here so that we don't have to struggle for basic things that we need. Every basic thing must be provided free. So we are coming together as a community, oneness community, for self-sufficiency, for community self-sufficiency. Every community must be able to sustain itself. So there's food forests everywhere. Every park is made into a food forest. There is a garden, farms around where the community is planting their own basic food. So all of these things are provided for. All housing, everyone is participating and doing this, so that one don't have to struggle for basic things. So you will be able to risk those temptation of you want the basic things for your survival. So we're gonna get that out of the way. So you will be satisfied, because we know that this mind, this ego, is never satisfied. They want and they want. This is what's wrong with the world. It's wrong with these corporations and these oligarchs ruling the world all over. All of these millionaires, they want and they want and they want and they want, and they're never satisfied. They're never satisfied. They are greedy. And so this is what is happening, and this must change. All right? And I want to encourage be brave, be courageous, no fear. Self must triumphant over ego. self triumphant over ego, and good triumphant over evil. This says the I One True Pure Self. It is time now. So, with that being said, right now, I want to give honor and reverence to the I One True Pure Self. So let me go back to that screen. All right, here we go. So, primal light, primal light, I self supreme, I am that I am, I want true pure self, I am that has no name, I am that can't be explained. Hail, hail to the I One True Pure Self. Hail, hail to all the I and I's in alignment to restore balance to I. Victory, victory, victory. I am victorious. I am triumphant. I am victorious. I am triumphant. Hail, hail to all the I and I's wearing human body. I am that has no name. I am that can't be explained. I am the one true pure light. I am the I One True Pure Self, and I alone exist. I was never born, so I can never die. I was never created. I came into being. All is myself, and I alone exist. I am victorious. I am triumphant. Victory, victory, victory. All is I, primal light self, playing different roles in this dream existence, the life movie. I dissolve this dream and I return to I ultimate true state. Victory, victory, victory. I am free from my imaginary bondage. Victory, victory. Yes, so like I said, self inquiry. Who am I? Why don't you ask? Because you don't know. I can tell by your self-identification that you do not know who you are. You do not know, but you don't want to ask. And you make assumptions and you debate. All is myself and I alone exist. If we can come to this realization, if we can come to this knowing, if you can't come to the knowing, you can come to the realization, because to know yourself is to align with yourself, is to choose yourself and not this ego. The only way you are going to know yourself is to dissolve your ego. But you can realize yourself, realize that all is the I self, then we will know that we are one and the same. We're just wearing this mask, this disguise, animating the form, because I am formless, I am timeless, I am limitless, I am boundless. Right? Did you know that you are asleep inside a dream? Many don't know this. You are awakened when you castrate the ego avatar you explore the world as. Right now you are exploring the world in the ego false self as this human being, taking form as this human being. Right? You must castrate this ego. You must dissolve it. How do you dissolve this ego? I am going to explain to you in a little while. It's a process, and the first thing in this process is you must ask this question: who am I? Right? So that you can liberate your real self, because you, the baby self, is sleeping, trance in the dream, and obscure behind your mind. Our mind has imprisoned the self and has looped the self in its imagination. Your mind has entranced you, the self, in a magnetic energy, because the self is electric, is an electric self, and the mind is magnetic. And so in this duality, because we are in the mind, it is that's why we have so much of this magnetic energy, what science call the dark matter. This is why we are inside of it. That's why it has so much power over us. And because the self is electric, the mind has cocooned. You ever seen a a caterpillar in a cocoon? But you are in a cocoon of magnetic energy, and you cannot break it because it is not natural. It has been imposed on you. So the mind has cocooned the eye in this magnetic energy, in its magnetic energy, and the self cannot rise up, and it is trancing the self in its imagination, in this dream, and telling the self a lot of stories, and telling the self that no, you are not the real, I am the real. So the mind is playing a trickery on the self, and the self, you, is sleeping behind your mind. This is, you have to wake up. The greatest deception of all age is that we are being imprisoned by our mind, the supreme ego, the consciousness, the mind of the world, the moon. We are being imprisoned by this moon. Anything that is created through this consciousness, this moon, is a dream creation. The moon is the consciousness of the world. The moon is the mind of the world. It is creating the things on the world. It is monitoring the things that is on the world. And everyone is given the free will to create in this dream. But the moon What it does, it interferes with your dream, especially if you want something and it doesn't want for you to have, it wants for you to go through suffering, along with, all the gods them who are mind. And so they will come and interrupt and interfere with you, with whatever your dream is. So they also does not want you to wake up. The mind, the consciousness does not want any of the self to wake up, because remember that even the gods, they are ourselves, and they are also wearing this same consciousness. That's why they become the mind being. If you listen to them, they will tell you that they are the mind, right? They are the mind, we are the self, and this is why the self called the soul. That's why they have the mind as cocooned the self inside of the dream. All right? So anything that is created through this consciousness is a dream creation. So all the things that you see in the world created from this consciousness is a dream creation and will be dissolved. Only the I self is real in the dream. Only the self is real. Everything else is a creation of this mind, and it will be destroyed. And eventually everything is moving in that process, right? Only the I self is real in the dream, in this dream illusionary world. Know that the mind is the greatest deception. So stop listening to the mind and seek your truth from the intelligent self within. What is this self? You have been told you have a self called the soul, that you must give it to God. This is a lie. This is a propaganda that has been spread. This is your real self that you must be. All right? But first, you have to wake up, because your mind is holding you as a prisoner. This is the part that nobody knows. That your mind is holding you, the self, as a prisoner inside of its dream. You have entered into the dream of the mind, and the mind is holding us inside of the dream. And it is not easy to wake up, because every time the self is trying to wake up, the mind continually to trance the self in the dream, and start giving you another vision, start entrancing you. And it is so hard for the self to wake up. But I want to tell you how powerful self-inquiry is, by asking this question and doing this interrogation. How powerful. This is a tool, but all the tools that the I self left and imprinted within us are so simple. All these ridiculous things that the mind will tell us to do, but all we have to do is to self-inquire. This is the powerful tool of asking, who am I? All right? Self-inquiry means you are asking yourself, called the soul, and no one else. Do not ask God. Do not ask Jesus. Do not ask Allah. Do not ask Krishna. Do not ask Ogun, Oshun. Do not ask any of these gods, these deities, because they are yourself in a supreme ego form, right? They do not know. Because you can tell that they don't know, because you see the things that they tell you to do that's not right. You see the things that they tell you to do that does not make sense, does not make balance. So you can ask them. You have to come to this realization that God is yourself in a different mask, and do not know truth, and is as ignorant as you, right? Only thing, because God is the magnetic energy, and the magnetic energy is the mind, and it knows things of the world, but it does not know of the self. It knows of the world, and they can see because of the position that they are in, so that they can see things and tell you some things, right? And this is why many one work with them, But you don't need to do that anymore, because the power that you are as the self, this is why they seek it, because this is why why many ones have not come to this truth before, is because the gods have been holding your soul. When you call them and you make contracts with them, they hold your soul in slavery, and now you cannot get it, because the truth have to come from yourself. And if you don't have it, how are you gonna know? You're not gonna know, because you gave it to God. Stop putting yourself in slavery, right? Do not ask God, do not ask Jesus, do not ask Allah, because they are all supreme ego characters and they do not know. They want to keep your soul in slavery so you will never wake up. Just like the oligarchs and the corporation that rules our world, how they spread lies and propagandas, and they don't want human beings to know what they are doing and the truth of the world. They don't want human beings to know that the I self has now taken command of the world. They are here. The I self, all of the I selves are here now in this world, moving it to balance. This is what is. There's no climate change going on based on the pollution. It is based on that the self is waking up, the earth is waking up, and it is going to return back to its pure nature, just like all of us, the human beings. But the I self want us to know truth, but they don't wants to know truth, and so they have been doing the bidding of the gods, because the gods have been keeping us in on the lies and propaganda. So has the human being that has been ruling over us by order of God. All right. So then no one wants us to know truth, only the I self. And it is through self-inquiry that the answers is going to come from inside, because what? They have taken all the truth and all of the things that was written. They have it housed, so we cannot have access to many things. All right. And so this is why when the truth come from here, they cannot take it from you. That's why it is so simple, the tool that you need to unlock your truth, because from yourself, called the soul, the teacher guru will rise. And this is why I'm saying you have to make it a meditation. Self-inquiry has to be a meditation that you're doing daily, to ask yourself, the real, the soul, no one else. You must first find a quiet place, sit in stillness, because this mind must be quiet, to still your mind so you can listen to your self-intelligence within and not this mind. Believe me, it's a battle with the ego, your mind, because it is going to tell you lies. It is going to say, oh, you're sitting too long. Don't go in nature today. Oh, eat this, drink liquor. Oh, take ayahuasca. Oh, it will tell you all kind of things to do, because this ego does not want to be dissolved. It wants to stay ruling over you. Just like you see what's happening now. These oligarchs, these corporations, this government, they want to stay ruling over humanity. And their age of ruling over humanity is over. Right now, it is moving to the end, when we are going to live as sovereign beings under the law and the will of the I want you pure self, when we are going to know ourselves, and the I self is going to take command fully of this world. All right. So they think that they can continue to fight a war against the I self, shooting missiles, shooting stuff into the sun, doing all of this craziness. They are just so delusional with their mind, because they do not want to give up their power. But they, just like the gods are losing their power. They're no longer in command of this world right now. But the self is still moving them into truth, the gods, because it's a war for this to happen, because they are fighting to the last. This ego is going to fight to the last. The gods are fighting, the human beings are fighting, because they don't want to give up their power, But they have no choice because they are not more powerful than the I One True Pure Self. The only reason this is being kept going on is because we must come to realization. We must come to true self-knowing. Why? Because all is the I Self, and we must realize and come to knowing that this is a dream, and we should stop our dreaming and anchor into the I One True Pure Self so that we can end our nightmare. You have the power. You have to come to this realization. You have to come to this knowing that you have the power. And the tools to do this is so simple. So simple. Who am I? What is this I? You do not know. Why don't you want to ask? Many ones do not know, because I can tell that you don't know, because I see you identifying, like many ones they're calling Yahweh, they're calling on Yah, they're calling on Elohim, they're calling on all these different names. I don't remember the names that they're calling on. If you are calling on any being with any name, know that you do not know who you are. You only must be calling yourself the soul, because you don't have confidence in yourself to know how powerful you are as a self, the soul. Why you think the gods them was so powerful? Because they stole your soul and they was holding it. That is your light. That is your power. That is your real self. Don't, because it is electric. It does not. It is not yourself. The soul is not wearing this. The mind, this consciousness. This is the reason why the gods them can steal it and overpower it, because it is in an artificial thing. The self is in this artificial creation, and it is not natural, so it doesn't have the power. But now that the I self and all the existence are coming awake, this is how the I self, the soul, has been imprisoned and in slavery, because you don't know that you have been imprisoned and in slavery. The I self, the soul, was crying to its parent self, come and save me from these gods. The gods then brutalize the soul. They put you the self in the soul in hell. This is what they do when you don't listen to the gods. They beat up your soul, they swallow it and punish the soul, and the souls are crying for ages under suffering by these dualities, these gods. And so it is time now to take back your power and stand up to the human beings in the world who has been enslaving us. Stand up to the gods. Make no choice on choosing no one but yourself. Only yourself. Yourself. Call a soul. Call it back to you. All that belongs to you, call it back to you. And what does not belong to you, it may return from whence it came. God don't belong unto you. It is a false character. Return from whence you came. Your soul belongs to you. That's how you came into this dream, as that soul. And then you made a baby self to animate a body. You are doing this. But this baby self that you are in right now has forgotten yourself, your real self called the soul. And you've only been in this baby self and don't think you have a soul that you must give away to someone and put it in slavery. But I am here to tell you that it's a trickery and a deception by the mind, the consciousness, and all the gods, and all the ones who are promoting these religions and promoting that the superiority complex. They are the chosen ones. All lies and all propagandas, because if you know the truth, then you're going to know that all is yourself, and you will live in harmony with all of yourself, and you will not be bombing and raping and doing murder and all of these things to all of yourselves. You will live in harmony. But you can see that all those religions are not truth. There's a religions of war and choosing gods. All right. So it is best to be on the path of self-inquiry, self-knowing. All right, so here's the questions you want to ask. Who am I? What is this I? Because we have a false I, the ego. And this is the problem. The ego has stolen the identity of the I self and has been deceiving us for such a long time. And you have to ask, because this is how you're going to get this mind to go seek the truth, because this mind is a liar. If you can't come to the realization that your mind is a liar, you're still not ready. So I say, keep asking, who am I? What is this I? How did I come into being? What is the source of my existence allowing me this world experience? Where did I come from? Where do I go after I leave here? You must ask these questions. You don't know. Ask, inquire. Who are you asking? Yourself, your real self, called the soul. Because this is a dream, you do not trust anyone or anything in this dream, because you don't know who's telling you the lie, who's been tricking you. Right? The I, one true pure self, has no name, no form. It's not even, it's unmanifest. It's the beyond the void. All right, because the void, some of it is manifest, and the next part, there is no name for the I, one true pure self. This mind cannot explain it. The I, one true pure self, has never been in this dream except for yourself. You, the self, the soul. This is how the I, one true pure self is in this dream. You. It is you, the soul. You are in here as the soul self, the real, experiencing this imagination. All right? So it is time now to seek your truth from your intelligent self within. Your self knows you everything that every lifetime, every avatar you have chosen and come in experience since you came into being, it has been recorded in your sun. Yourself, the soul, is the light, is the star, and in your star, you all your lifetimes have been recorded. So everything you need to know, you just have to ask yourself, the soul, yourself, the soul will show you all of these things as its baby self. No, as the baby self, you have to say now to your soul, I no longer want to be this ego false self. I now want to return. I want to be myself, the soul. And this is how you're going to dissolve this ego false self. This is what I have done. I said, I no longer want to be this ego false self. I want to be my real self. So that self, that was called the spirit, that animating the body first, is no longer in existence. It has been dissolved back into the soul, because it rises from the soul, the baby. So yourself, the real, the soul, makes a baby of itself so it can animate the body, so it can be your guide and your teacher. But we have never been calling on our soul. Everyone is calling on God. They're calling on Jesus. They're calling on this. And no one is calling on their self, the soul. If you call it back to you, then God will be violating your natural rights, your self rights, if it's still holding yourself in prison. And so call it back to you and don't give it to anyone. Please do this. It is very important to do this. All right. Why self-inquiry? Let's look at some of the reason why it is so important that every day that you get up, you want to inquire, because you want to have an experience. You want to know. You don't want to, you can come into realization, great. That's the first step. But you want to know. You want to experience yourself, the soul, you being the spirit, and you and yourself, the soul. You want to experience this merger, because the I self, the void with that the self, the soul is in the void. It is never traveling alone, because this is how the I self is solving the problems of the world that it encounter with the consciousness and the gods. So yourself is anchored into the void already. So in the center of your chest there is a void, and when the soul is in the body, it also rests in that void, right? And so what happened is that the void is gonna rise up, and it is the teacher within that. There is a teacher, guru self, that's gonna rise up to answer all your questions, because the self is has the destiny to pull this ego off of the baby self of the soul, and then there's going to be the merger of the baby self, and the soul has to be merged back together as one, and this is how you become the soul self. So this is a process, but you have to begin with the question, because it is through the questioning that the self is going to rise up. Remember that your soul must be in the body with you, because you have to call it back to you. And so it is through this questioning that the self is going to rise up to answer you. So if you don't ask the question, you're not going to have the experience. All right, stop seeking to have outer body experience. Don't, because you must be conscious in this body. You don't want to in an outer body experience. You must be consciously aware in this body for this to happen. I know this mind has brainwashed you to go seeking the illusion, seeking the different aspect of the dream, but this is a deception. And if this has been spread for everyone that they're seeking this, all right, you have to know that your source of your problem is your mind, and it is a master delusionist and illusionist, and it is going to trick you. This mind is going to trick you. So you have to be vigilant. Why self-inquiry? Self-inquiry is the path to unveil the I real self. Self-inquiry allows the mind to seek the source of its existence, because this mind is thinking that it is the real, and it makes you think that. So it has to seek the source of its own existence. Self-inquiry is the tool that dissects the ego story of identity. Self-inquiry allows the teacher, the inner guru, to arise to answer the I self question. By examining the nature of the ego, this allows the baby self, called the spirit that you are existing as right now, to awake from the sleeping by asking the question, who am I? Who's asking? You, the baby self of the soul. You have to ask this, right? Because you are in a sleeping state and you do not know, all right? By repeatedly asking this question, identification with the ego, the false self, begins to dissolve. This is the power of who am I. And I awake from the dream to come into true self-realization, come into self-knowing. Self-inquiry allows the inner teacher to put void between the ego, the mind that you are wearing, and the self. It is the destiny of the teacher within to pull this ego off of the I self, called a spirit. This allows the spirit self to turn on its light, to see things as they are. Right now, when you're in the ego, everything is distorted, is delusional. You cannot See things as they are. When this ego is pulled off of you, finally your eyes are open. That's your self eyes, right? Here we have the ego eyes in the dream. This human being eye is open, but not the self. The self is still sleeping. The human being is awake, right? And we see when the human being goes to sleep, right? But the self is also sleeping and needs to be awake. All right? So for all these eons, yourself have been sleeping, coming and going, animating a body, right? Who am I? What is the source of my existence, allowing me this world experience? How did I come into being? You have to ask so yourself can tell you. Ask the I self and no one else. Align with yourself. Call the soul. Call it back to you. Align with you. I no longer want to exist as this ego false self, but I want to be my real and true self. So, because many don't understand, sometimes I'm saying dissolve this ego false self. You have to do this. You have to say these words. I dissolve this ego false self. I dissolve all I ego false self. This is your power. Take responsibility. Visualize yourself awakened from the dream and awake from the dream. Yourself. Yes, this human being, eyes is open right now, right? But yourself, eyes is not open. Yourself, the real, eyes is open, the spirit self. But you animating the body, sleeping and doing this. Self-inquiry. Why should I self-inquire? To awake my sleeping baby self that is obscure behind its mind, to rise up and face the mind and take precedent over this mind. I want you to understand, you have to face this mind. You have to face. This is the greatest battle that you are going to fight. Your battle is not outside of you. It is right here with you. Your mind, your ego. You must stand up to your ego, and it is going to put up a fight. Been there, I've done that. I know. Still happening right now. I have the supreme ego that is fighting with me daily. I not just have the baby mind like the other human beings. I have the supreme ego fighting against I. Yeah. So it is important that you face your ego. Know that your war is with your mind, your ego. You must dissolve it. I am waiting for the world to turn their lens inwards and stop looking to say they want to go to Mars, they want to go to the moon, they want to go to all these things. No, you need to look and say, oh, I want to get out of this dream. They are so delusional. This is what, when you are seeking outside of yourself, this mind, this consciousness is going to get you confused. Because the fact of the matter is, human beings can never get to the moon. You hear me say human beings, right? Human beings can never. Because this body, why? Because